Thank you, guys. I'm the first time speaking in Lithuania, and but I'm visiting your country quite often. This summer, I've spent some weeks in Šventoji. Yeah, it's near Palanga. I really enjoy your sea and whatever. It's the first time I do this presentation in English. That's why maybe I will spend some time to find proper wording for some things. But anyway. A few words about me. I'm QA engineer at TopTel. My company is doing it is like a freelancer platform for the best engineers and the best companies. Feel free to visit our website. I spent about 10 years in testing, mostly in test automation in various roles, doing as engineer, manager, architect, consultant, trainer. I have some website with links with my presentations. And some videos, you might find something useful there. But unfortunately, the majority is in Russian. There are not so many speeches in English. And today there is a chance to fix it. Well, yeah, there is not so much slides, by the way. The thing that I'm going to talk today is some kind of evolution of the approaches in test automation that I bypassed by myself. And I feel that even today, test automation is misunderstood and understood in really narrow sense. That's why I want to show you, like, I made certain theoretical speeches, like I was standing here and showing some fun slides, and then I figured out that people do understand better when I just can show how it looks like. And because after 7 presentation, it was like comments, okay, it's impossible, okay, it will not work in our case, or something like this. Here, I will just give an example how to do good test automation using modern approaches, the way it is done in good companies, in the best industry standards. So I created some really bad web application in order to demonstrate it. Let me show how it works. So my company connects freelancers with developers, with companies, and let's consider a simple application that will calculate the average rate for the developer for certain country. So let's pick some examples. Let's decide what's the name for the first developer. Any suggestions? Bob? Okay, Bob. Let's say his hourly rate will be 5 tugrits per hour, and he will be from Belarus. Okay, we saved it. So the application is really bad. I have to open it manually. Okay, let's find the second developer. N? N, okay, N. And her rate will be 10, and she will be also from Belarus. And let's pick the third one. Any suggestions for names? Bill. Bill? Okay, Bill. Bill, it will be well-paid developer from Lithuania. So this is really simple application. I'm uploading the data, and then I'm going to calculate the average rate for Belarus. So there is another page where I can select the country and calculate average. So as you understand, Bill is not counted because he is from Lithuania, and the first 2 developers, 5 plus 10 divided by 2, 7.5. Quite simple test case, and 7.5 is an expected result. That's the way we do manual testing. We provide some data, we validate, and check how it works. Let's do automated test case in order to automate such kind of things. I'm going to use WebDriver in order to write. Okay, I feel that you hear my breathing. Okay, much better. Let's write a test in WebDriver. So, by the way, I'm going to write Ruby. Who is writing Ruby in this area? Okay. Well, who is writing the code? Okay, much better. So Ruby is simple language. You will understand everything. And if you don't understand some parts, I will raise a hand, I will explain a bit more. So let's create web driver. I hope I'm doing it right way. Just let me concentrate a bit more. I have, if I don't remember anything, I have saved version of this. Tests, yeah, and this one. Selenium WebDriver for Firefox. Okay, ID2. Somehow ID is not for. Unfortunately, when I was doing this preparation for yesterday, I found the bug in the latest Firefox driver, so that's why I'm going to use Chrome. Driver get, I'm going to open localhost, and okay, maybe it will be easier, then I will just copy it and explain what's going on here. So let's create a driver and create, just to save time, not to see my typing. So what we're going to do here, we're going to, oh sorry, we're using Bob and Bill. Let's go through the code. So we created a method which will open our page and fill developer name, developer rate, developer country, and click commit button. And we will do it 3 times in order to create these 3 developers. Then we will open the page to calculate average and provide the data for country, and then click commit button. And then, in order to verify expected result, we have we want to see 7.5. But in order to get this, it was just quite some strange situation that when we see the structure of this page, there is no good way to get this 7.5. I need to get the text from the whole page, split it by a new line. So all these combinations is here. So some strange things in order to get this 7.5. Who is facing the same issues while doing test automation? Okay, yeah, so you feel my pain. So let's run it and see. Let's run it 5 times and see how fast these tests are and how many of them we can write, how many of them we can run in some limited amount of time. So right now we speak more about agile, and we want to provide our developers really quick feedback about when something goes wrong. We want to run lots of tests in limited amount of time. So we have our application up and running, and I hope it will run it. Okay. So browser is launched. Okay. First test is done. The second test is done. It's pretty quick, you see. So it's all on localhost. There are no resources. Nothing can. Yeah. And this we run this test 5 times, and we see that we managed to do it in 12 seconds. So so we are like scientific guys. We will write down experiments here. First experiment, we wrote UI tests, and we did 5 iterations, and we did it in 12 seconds. So we will calculate how much it takes to run 1 test. So this Excel magic. And let's see how many of tests we're able to run in 5 minutes. Why 5 minutes? Okay, 5 minutes, it's just considerable time for developer. If I'm doing some coding, I push my code to Jenkins, to GitHub, or whatever version control system we have, and I'm okay to wait 5 minutes in order to get results if something is broken or not. And let's see how many of them we can write in 5 minutes. Okay, not so bad. We can run more than 100 tests in 5 minutes if we will write it this way. And this is quite usual approach to do test automation. Of course, you can say that there are lots of useless operations here. We're testing what can be done in order to speed up these tests.
Remove name.
Remote name?
Name. Do not assign name.
Yeah, that's quite true. But this field is mandatory, by the way. How we cannot assign it? What else can be done? Use more thread. Okay, we can utilize more hardware in order to parallelize, distribute it, but it will cost more money for us. Let's consider it as like the last option. What can be done else?
Headless browser.
What?
Headless browser.
Okay, headless. I have one suggestion, not to reopen it at least. So each time we see that we close, open, one common technique is not to reopen it. And another thing I can say that there is no need to put this data through the web interface. So let's create database records directly. So we will utilize Ruby code in order to insert it directly in database and open the browser only when it's really needed. Let's update it. Let's name it advanced UI tests. And this way we can do really. So we don't need the driver in order to create the instance of the record for the developer in database. We can do something like developer.create and country. So this way we are utilizing the Ruby on Rails application in order to create the record directly in database. It is done exactly the same way as through user interface. It will just insert record in our database, nothing really special. We can remove this. And let's do some tricky things about driver. Let's not to... I will do some Ruby magic right now, but believe me, it's not so important. So this way we will just use the same driver across, the same browser across all our tests. So we will run 5 tests in the same browser without reopening it. We will create a developer directly in database, and we will open user interface only for only when it is really needed. Let's check how fast our test became. Okay, refactor rename. Oops, not this rename. Sorry. Do refactor, and let's run the same 5 times, the same test, but in this updated mode. I hope it will run. Yeah, so you see, oops, something goes wrong. No, I renamed the wrong file. Oh, no. Yeah, that's good. I will rename it back. Okay, I will do something like this. That's great that you are following me. I'm sure that I'm understood at least with all this Ruby magic. And do refactor. Okay, let's do one more time. Okay, in one browser we are opening. Sorry, not. I will check my notes how to do it properly. Too many. Oh, this should be 2. I forgot. I did more Ruby magic. So I renamed instance variable to replaced instance variable with a class variable. Okay, yeah, much more faster. We did 5 tests in the same browser, and we did it in 2.3 seconds. So this is really good. with quite simple things, we can do the same 5 tests, but in 10 times or 5 times quicker. So we can run within 5 minutes more than 600 tests. What else we can do in order to speed up? So because 600 tests is not so much. How many test cases do you have in your project? Thousands, yeah. So this is not gonna work. So it's only 400. What else we can do in order to test the same, but to do it quicker? Huh? Headless browser will not help because you see, Chrome browser is quite quick. We don't spend so much time, and headless browser is good when you have to render lots of user interface. In our case, user interface is really simple, and maybe you will save 10% of time in the best case for this. So, what else?
Do not use browser to calculate averages.
Well, that's a really great idea. So, why do we need browser at all? So, who cares if it is this? We need to know the number. We want to test the calculation. So let's remove browser and let's do API call instead of using WebDriver in order to test the same, actually. We have API. So copy. I'm copying good things, and I will modify right now. Right file. Let's do some simple thing. Let's remove browser at all. And let's do the following. Let's see how the data is displayed in our web application. And let's open this black box and see what we are really testing. Let's see how we do calculation and see that, okay, this is the page how we do calculate the average. And I will explain what's going on here. It is template file where we render HTML. And I believe the whole application is within the same file because it is layout. This is working with object repository management system. It's like Hibernate, but in Ruby on Rails. And this is called to the database, and all this hell is within the single file. And this is not really good approach to write the applications. So it's more like if you put the whole application into a single file and try to run it. In order to test efficiently, we need to refactor our application in order to provide the API. We can do it the following. We will create a new endpoint. Let's make it the calculate API. And extract this calculation logic from layout. We don't need this here. It's layout. It's the way you display your. And let's move it here. And okay, let's do some simple things. Let's return result as a JSON. Don't do this the way I do it right now. There are lots of nice JSON generation JSON libraries, but for our needs it's okay. We will just create a simple API that will return the same but in JSON. And then we will replace our layout with the layout which will, with the HTML which will call our API and display it on the user interface. Most likely you will need to extract this API nowadays, not only to write good tests, not only to extract your user interface representation from the calculation logic, but also we have mobile devices, and all these mobile devices should do calls to your application. And the way application was written before, it was quite useless for to be utilized by native applications, whatever. So what is done here, it is actually the same nice HTML, but the data is retrieved from this endpoint, calculate API. I had to configure Rails application to support this. Okay, it's get a post. I think it should be get. And let's hope it still works. Let's restart the application and see what's changed. have this calculate. Yeah, yeah, this calculate API. Oops. I need to. Oops. I have to learn a bit more how to write this. I used to write more on Ruby, and right now I switched to Python. That's why I forgot how to do it. Sorry. Oh, I have this controller, average controller, plain, rate. What's render? I forgot this render. Sure. Render plain. Okay, this should be better right now. Oops. What else? Country. Yeah, that's true. We need to do it this way. So you should feel pain. Okay, a bit better. And what else? What did it wrong? Result, what else? Okay, let's do it one more time. Hope it works.
No, the result. One line ago. The result name.
Yeah, that's yeah, turn it on, turn it off and off again, yeah. Okay, let's copy it all together and see where I did mistake. Oops. Sorry. Come on. Country. Maybe there is no data. I don't know. Maybe I deleted it. Okay, let's see our page.
You need to provide country maybe.
Yeah. This is in parameters. Oops. Oh, yeah, I got it. You're right. I have to provide, but I removed params. Yeah, this should work. Yeah, finally. I'm just a bit worried about all this live coding and anything can go wrong. So, and let's see how it works. So we have the same web page. We can provide Belarus and call calculate average. So visually it is the same, but technically there is additional call to that endpoint. So, and right now we can just forget about this page and test the application directly. So I will copy this again, and let's see how our test changed. Okay, API test. What I copied. So this way we don't need to get driver. So we will get URL the same as we did in browser. We will do a GET request to this URL with our parameter, and we will take a JSON, parse the JSON response, and take the value. And right now, the value is even float number, not string. So we make it better. So let's see how many of tests we can run, and let's check, maybe we will be able to run 100 tests quite quickly. Let's compare. Open this page. Okay. Right now we will try to do it third way. And 100 tests, we were able to run the same validation, but 100 times in 1 and a bit more second. So let's call it API and log our experiment result. So, okay, and if we do test automation this way, we can run in 5 minutes 25,000 of test cases. So this is like another story of test automation. So when I found this way of test automation, I feel like, oh, I can do it a completely different way. I can, when I'm developing test automation, I can not wait while browser is launching, closing. I write the code, check, and This way you even do test development much faster. But is it like the best way to do test automation? What do you think? Can we go next? Any suggestions? What? I'm not sure that I got correctly what is suggested, but the idea is here that do we really need a web server? So we get rid of browser. We think, okay, we have some certain calculations, it lives in our code. Do we need really a web browser in order to test this piece of logic? Let's remove web server at all. So in order to do this, we can do quite simple things from the development perspective. So we can extract this calculation into separate class. Let's name it as rates broker. And this rates broker will just have a method in order to return this 7.5. We don't really care in what format we are going to return it to end user. Will it be JSON or XML or whatever? We don't care. We need to calculate. We need to know that 7.5 is calculated correctly. Okay, let's do it. Let's create some directory for brokers in our application and create new class as rates broker. And left, so average rate. And just do something like this. Create a simple method that will give an existing country as an input. We will calculate this. Oh, we don't need return in Ruby, sorry. It's from Python. So we will just calculate it. So just the same, but extract into separate class. And in this controller, instead of having these things, because control is more about creating a response, not about the calculation. So let's create this rates broker, create new instance of it, and calculate rate based on the country given in our input params. So actually we did nothing, we just extracted the piece of logic into separate class. So it was there, right now it's here. Let's see that nothing is changed. I think, okay, resend. Now something is changed. Let's see what changed, what I did wrong. Oh yeah, I forget. I need to. In this case, I had to restart the server because there is an additional folder in Rails application, and it has to rescan the folder structure. Okay, it still works, and from user perspective, nothing changed. So it still works the same. But what it gave us in terms of the testing. So the name of such kind of test is integration test, in classical books at least. So what we can do, instead of sending any request to any endpoint, we will do really simple things. We will just create this rates broker and calculate the value for Belarus. It's really simple to write such kind of tests. You create a record and create a class and call the method. That's it. No third-party libraries, nothing. No JSON parsing. Let's give one more zero here and see how quick our tests are. So we don't even need to have running application in this case, just because we don't do any calls to application. And so, let's see how quick 1,000 of tests can be run. Okay. In 5 seconds, we can run 1,000 of tests. So, and let's copy and see how quick we are right now. So we increase the speed even 2 times. So what else we can do in order to make our test even more quicker? So I don't think that even it's feasible to write 56,000 of test cases, but anyway, can we do something else? Yeah, in some places, this test that we've written is named unit test, but it's not really unit test. Who knows the difference? Why I named it as integration test, not as unit test?
Real database?
Yes, that's true. So let's get rid of the database. The way application works right now, once we do a call to endpoint, there is a SQL requests. Here you can see that we execute this SQL query, we do the calculation within the database. It looks okay before you want to test it, and before you have queries for the 2 pages. So it's not really a good idea to put the logic you're writing into the database. Just because modern storage can be different, so right now we live in big data with no SQL database. Let's do the calculation in our application and use database only as a storage. So in order to do this, we need to do one more class. Let's name it data provider. And okay, Ruby class. Let's keep rates provider, and let's define. Let's load all the rates. Developer, all, and as mentioned before, let's load only country and rate. We don't need to load real names because who cares what they are for this particular example, of course. Okay, where is our broker? So, and instead of this, we will load the data from rates provider. And then we can do the following. We can filter. I will copy this code, just not to spend so much time again to write it. Okay, application brokers. Oh, sorry, misclick. One more time. Broker. I will just explain what's going on there. So we will select the data that is relevant only for our country, and then load only rates because we don't need country. And then we will sum up all the values that we loaded and filtered, and divide by the number of records. So calculate the average, but by our own. So, and how tests will change? So in this case, it is unit tests. So instead of this creation, what we can do, we can just define the data. We will say that we have certain data, which is Belarus 5 and 100, and there is one guy from Lithuania. We don't need this. We don't need this method anymore. We don't want to insert real records in database. And let's say to the test engine, provider, let's say that when there will be a call to this rates method, let's do not call this class. Let's just directly use this data. So we created a mock. In scripting languages, it's quite easy. So what we say is right now that when there will be a call to this method, you return this data and don't do this database communication. And let's see how quick our tests became. Let's add one more 0 here, and let's see how let's double check first that the application is still working. We forgot about the most important thing. Send. Okay. slow. Yeah, it's still working. It still works the same way. From end user point of view, it is still the same. But from testing point of view, if we will try to run such tests, so we are able to run 10,000 of tests within 2 seconds. So, and this is what is called unit tests. So, okay. So the numbers are completely different right now. So we can run more than 1 million of tests within 5 minutes without any parallelization, without any utilizing of additional hardware within 5 minutes. So it completely changes the way we do test automation, because this kind of test can be run on each saving in IDE. So, but it is still the same validation. Yeah, finally I finished with my with my demo, and I have a few slides to show you. And in order to go through the things we did, it was the first approach, quite standard way we do test automation. Like there is a browser and there is some black box. We know nothing about what's going on within our application. So, and when we try to dig into the application, when we try to see how to test it better, we figure out that, okay, our application is written in quite bad way. And this is not only the problem with maintenance, with some scalability, whatever, but it's also the problem for testing. And once we started to use better practices, we for example, for third approach, we extracted the logic for the user interface. So we test like green parts. So we tested directly on the web server, but we refactored our application code, and we make application better. So this is what we did on the third approach. We extracted API, and layout was extracted. Yeah. So fourth approach was not to call web server at all, to communicate directly with application code, to communicate directly with database. And in some cases, it's really good thing, unless you have lots of tests, even to utilize this approach. And if you see that it is not good enough again, so you can remove database and refactor, make your application more granular, more layered, so make it better. Again, I'm out of words, looks like. And test business logic directly. So this is a really good example. Unit test is not good enough. I'm not saying that you should test everything with unit tests. This is like, you can have all unit tests up and running green, but together it will not work. So it doesn't matter. So all tests are important, but it depends on how many of them you should have. So there is this concept, well-known test automation pyramid. So you should have tests like with the first approach, or better with the second, because the second approach is just more. It works actually the same way, but more quicker. You should have API tests. You should have more of them. You should have unit tests. It should be your foundation of testing. You should test all various scenarios. And it's really strange to hear for me that unit test is something for developers. Here I gave you an example that unit tests actually testing the same things, and you can do it better way, quicker, more reliable, whatever. Summarizing, we can get fast tests, we can have short release cycles, because nowadays we can't live in the world where we created a build, deploy it to some server, call QA team, okay guys, you have 1 week to do the regression testing. While you will do such iteration, your competitor will this way release 5 new versions of their software, and you will be out of market. So, and in parallel, you are getting better application architecture. So yeah, any questions? This is a GitHub link where you can download and check this code I've written. Yeah. Yeah, yes.
Just the last last case with unit tests, I think you cheated a little because you made the tests faster, but the application itself got slower. Yeah. Because previously all hard work was done in the database itself, and now if with lots of data, it will download all the data from that database.
Yeah, so that's true. So in this particular example, we make application slower. So this is quite synthetic example, I would say. But me personally, I suffered a lot having tests for the SQL. So, and there is a certain trade-off, of course. And if you have lots of data, there will be no benefit even from these SQL queries as well. You will need to invent some another data storages and whatever. So, yeah, true. So, but maybe it's not a problem. Any more questions? Okay, feel free to ping me after if you have something to
Thank you.